Okay, so first of all, I'd like to put a disclaimer that this analysis is mainly my own analysis and interpretation. Something not too serious and meant to sway people's opinions. I'm not saying that this is what the story of Fantasia is, more of what I view it using my 9th grade literary analysis skills. That's all, on to the video. TwoSetViolin is a channel that is, just as the name says, a channel that has two people playing violin. These two people are Eddie and Brett, two classically trained violinists who are promoting the art. They released a video earlier in the year, and it's sort of a short film that has their pieces as the background music. A truly beautiful piece of art that I rewatched a few times. This short film goes by the name Fantasia. Go check it out, I'll put it in the description below. First and foremost, I'd like to give my hats off to TwoSet because seriously, the short film was art. The visuals, the musical composition, the emotion, all just chef's kiss. Second, I'd like to say that this film takes a bit to understand. It's a lot of things that make more sense if you're a two-setter, they're fans, and understand the inside references and the two's friendship already. For example, the clock which is 40 hours a day instead of the typical 24 hours. Third, I'm going to point out that the film is actually a reflection and story of TwoSet. Yes, it has a story in the film. A clear one actually. That's why I'm making this analysis. Rather surprised no one has made one like this. Let's go. Okay, so quick warning, the film is 100% not in chronological order, and I'm going to discuss the scenes how they're shown in the film. The opening scene is a sort of introduction to what happens and is very vague in my opinion. It's up for interpretation. The shot of Eddie, Brett, and the clock are what I assume to be just literal shots. I believe the red button is a symbol for the choice that the two have to make, as buttons are usually a symbol of choice. To push the little red button can mean disaster or not. Up to the pusher to make the choice and risk it, much like the theme of the story of choice and risk, which will be explained later. The consecutive shots of a blooming flower and violin can be interpreted as how Eddie and Brett bloom into themselves with the help of the instrument. Much as how when people find their niche and hobbies, they grow into the person that they are when pursuing things they like. There's also the shot of the two opening their eyes, which can be seen as them waking up to a new world when they find joy in playing violin, in which the peaceful field makes sense since it's that world where they can find joy and calmness, because music opened their eyes to a world where they can find comfort. However, this isn't the world that exists. Mirrors seem to be a sort of rippling portal as shown by the changing settings that it shows. Guessing from the shot with Brett, people can interact with these portals. This introduces us to the alternate world, one where Eddie doesn't pursue his love for violin and music and is instead working the usual white-collar job. As seen by the shots, his life is rather monotonous, lifeless, and definitely less exciting than where he is now. Eddie sees a violin, an old memory of years before, the words flashing on the screen implying that the instrument was an object that was linked to his dreams long ago. It was related to choosing between his heart and where he currently is now, and he obviously chose the latter. Still, that doesn't stop him from questioning his choice and wondering what he could have been if he chose differently. This caused him to set aside his usual routine to check out the old memory. We're then taken to a new setting, a grandiose hallway that seems to be a mix of elegance, wonder, and excitement in the air as Eddie, now joined with Brett, traverse the halls. It seems they were taken through an adventure in discovering classical music. This scene might as well be the moment Eddie was exposed to classic music, i.e. his passion. Brett wasn't exposed to classical music here. It seems he already had a violin at hand when they were walking. Perhaps he helped Eddie get into classical music? In this moment, he sees various people playing as he happily looks over, taking in the sights and experiences around him. Then, it happens. He was presented with his very own violin. This makes alternate Eddie question his current life again, thinking if his current world is the world he was meant to be in. The joyful scene is cut off when we move to a shot of Brett, sick and alone, unconscious in an hospital bed as a heart monitor is in the background. He seems to have gotten ill or in an accident that left him in a bad shape. We are taken to a lit stage. Brett and Eddie are on their way to play, despite the latter's supposed hospitalization in the previous scene. They then start to play on their instruments, a strong, beautiful melody encasing the film as they perform. In between the shots of them playing, we see Brett still in the hospital room, the heart monitor growing faster. The performance continues and time passes, Brett subconsciously moving in his sleep. The performance seems to be a dream for him, a happy memory flashing in his mind as the heart monitor flatlines, though having 5 lines instead, which is quite similar to the musical staff, showing that even in his death, music was something that he valued. That's how much he loved it. We are then shown Eddie now alone on stage. He stops playing when he realizes this and looks around sadly. He just lost his friend, his partner. Playing was too melancholic without him. Eddie seemed to share this memory as he snaps out of it, seemingly having zoned out before he could open the violin case. He hesitates for a moment, looking back at his work, then he sees a boba tea container, an old drink that he and Brett used to share. That caused him to look back and take the chance of opening the case, opening the memories and hobby he had sealed away before, opening his heart's desire once more. Light emanates from the inside the case, and we flash to a sudden magical world. Everything is animated, soft, peaceful, magical. Of course, in the middle of it all is Brett and Eddie. He is back in the world he fantasizes in, somewhere he can play in peace for the art and be with Brett as he explores what the world has to offer. That's basically Fantasia for me, a film about a man, Eddie, who had a passion for playing the violin with his friend, Brett. The two found solace in performing and it became their heart's desire. However, things took a turn for the worse when the friend grew ill, cutting short their performing days when he passed. The man, seeing that he was alone in his path, gave up his passion for a safe, less painful, and normal life of a salaryman. Still, every day his choice looms over him along with the memories of his friend. Could he have done better? Would he be happier if he followed the path he wanted? Is this where he was meant to be? In the end, he learns to reconnect with that fantasy of his. A life he imagined if he could go back and choose the path in life he wants. The film sort of serves as a reflection and an alternate reality to what if TwoSet wasn't able to pursue their dreams and passion. It also serves as a sort of understanding and reaching out to people who feels the same. To people who keep wondering about the what-ifs and wishing to have followed a path of their own desire. So, don't let this beautiful film go to waste. Get the message and brave to push the button. Make the choice and take the risk. Follow what your heart desires to arrive at your very own Fantasia and bloom. Again, that's just my analysis. Thank you for listening and let's all have a great life.